This is Kanzenshuu, the podcast, episode 318 for the week of December 16th, 2012. Yo, hey, welcome to Kanzenshuu,
the podcast,
an extension of the all-encompassing Dragon Ball fan site.
Kanzenshuu.
We cover anything and everything Dragon Ball in hopes of enlightening and a little bit of entertaining as we head toward this holiday season. I guess we're thick in the middle of it here. My name is Mike VegettoEX, and joining me is the other co-dude. I think that's your new official title, co-dude from Kanzenshuu, Heath, Mr. Hujio, sir. Welcome back. 2 weeks in a row, right?
2 weeks in a row. I'm back.
Rocking it.
We tried to have Julian on, but it just didn't work out, so
yeah,
for shame.
He was excited. I know he's loving all the Battle of Gods news, especially from that Japanese perspective. But when he is in Japan, and it's up to my schedule, really, as the coordinator here, sometimes I'm like, you know what? I'm recording in the afternoon, not the morning. So, Heath, it's you and me.
Which is fine.
It is fine. It is fine. We miss Julian, but I know he's going to be back soon. We'll talk about upcoming podcast plans, remind me, at the end of the show, because we have some really good stuff coming up. We are chock full of news this week. That's one of the things Julian was excited about, so I want to make sure we get to that. And we have a great topic for you. We're going to talk about complex movie villains and our top favorites and lots of your top favorites. But before we get to that, a couple of minor things I want to toss out there so you know and you remember right away. First thing, most important thing, Screw Attack, Goku vs. Superman, launching December 21st. Heath, even though you were not in charge of this, why don't you tell me all the work that I did?
Well, you did all this effort.
By myself, completely.
So that the world can end and no one will ever find out who won. Was that the whole plan? No, so they contacted us and said, hey, you guys are very authoritative on everything Dragon Ball, so we would like it if you could dive into essentially anything that has to do with Goku, his power, his abilities, his strengths, his weaknesses, his love, his caring, his kindness, and we want you to roll it up in a nice big present with a bow and hand it to us so that we can use all that information to determine whether he could defeat Superman or not. And we said, you know what? That sounds awesome. We're in. Let's do it. And we dove through any anime, manga, guidebook, anything we could find. And I can't even remember how long the final PDF file that we sent them was.
Well, we did 2 PDFs and then multiple follow-up emails.
Yeah.
The first PDF was 50 pages, I think. Second one was probably around half that. And then there were multiple follow-ups after that, just re-clarifying, like, wait, what's it actually say in Japanese versus... There's a lot of what we were doing is cleaning up messes from the English dub.
Yeah, because a lot of the questions we got was, well, I heard this when I was a kid. Isn't this a fact? And that was a dub-only line, so technically, no.
And there was still a lot of stuff from, the dub fixed that dub mistake, but then this other dub said this thing, sometimes not even English dubs. I don't want to pick on a particular English dub. So we were just like, look, everything we give you is from the original Japanese script or source material, whatever it is. So Screw Attack has this giant information database resource to go by. They could toss out everything we said and just run with entirely different stuff. I have no idea. I am looking forward to it just as much as everyone else on December 21st.
Oh, yeah. And I guess we should say we had some very, very good support from a lot of our community, our fans.
Oh my God, did we?
I think from both of us, we can't thank those people enough because that is just awesome what they came through and did. And I think it really represents our community very, very well.
Abso-freaking-lutely. So you'll hear more about this after it launches. I do want to get a beginning early episode reminder because that's coming up. 21st is this coming week. So, oh my God, look for it this week.
Yeah, Friday.
Is that a Friday? Okay.
Yeah, that's a Friday.
I have no idea. All right, so that's that. Then Heath did some website. We talked about it last episode, but some like tweaks and stuff. And we went back and forth a couple times. I think everything's cool now.
Yeah, I think everything's basically set for how we're going to leave it. We had a couple things that I wanted to do prior to the site launching, didn't really get done. And essentially I said, you know what, instead of doing this like little bit all the time, I like to do it all at once so I can actually make something more significant. A lot of it, most people won't really notice because it was behind the scenes. A lot of scripting was updated and switched out. But other than that, we did some little facelifts here and there. You can now go in and like our posts or share them on Google Plus and Twitter. All sorts of fun things like that.
It's awesome. You rolled out version 1.1 and then I gave you some changes. So I think we're going to call this 1.11.
Yeah, we can do that. I'll have to update the CSS file.
Okay. Is there anything else? Like just awesome stuff there, just little tweaks. I think you'll find nice enhancements. If you're already logged in, it does cool stuff.
I've already heard from a lot of people that they really like the navigation that now shows up on the right and then what's at the top. And one request we actually had, which I meant to do a while ago, was to make it so if you are actually logged into our website, all the links actually change. So if you want to go to the forum, you don't have to go read all the rules again before you go because you're already registered. But if you're not logged in, then you will have to go read all the rules.
Awesome.
So a lot of fun little things like that.
All right. So that's all the meta stuff. Let's, you know what? Let's news it up.
All right.
All right. We kicked things off almost, immediately after we launched that podcast episode last week. The very next day, we started getting just unbelievable amount of news. It's that time of year. It's that time in a project timeline for Battle of Gods. First thing, the band Flow is going to be covering Chala Head Chala for Battle of Gods. It is the new upcoming 2013 movie set to release March 30th, 2013 in Japan. So it started actually kind of this teaser announcement from one of their guitarists the day prior saying, hey, something cool is coming. And then we got the official tweet, the official news announcement. What do we have here? You know what? I'm just going to read. I think this is from the official website, right? The first thing we translated?
Yeah. This quote actually comes straight from Flow's official website. This wasn't actually posted on Twitter.
Right. It was just one of those little short things on Twitter that point you over to the main website. So here, I'll read the thing from Flow's website. It's been decided that Flow will handle the main theme of the film Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods, opening March 30th, 2013. The theme will be what could be called a byword for Dragon Ball Z, Chala Head Chala. That famous song will come back to life in a rearrangement with Flow's distinctive increased sense of speed. By all means, please look forward to the Flow style Chala Head Chala. Dragon Ball Z God in God, or Battle of Gods, official homepage, DragonBall2013.com. You always got to get that official plug there in at the end. So that was a huge announcement. And then we had another update. You can read all the translations here. I don't want to read every single last thing on the podcast. The Battle of Gods website had some information about it. And I know lots of Japanese entertainment sites had articles and additional quotes from the band. There's a lot of stuff out there. Julian did an amazing job. Like, dude, here's news, go. And he was just translating stuff on the fly for us. And we were able to get that up basically moments after the news went out there. So I was really excited to have that. Heath, why don't you give us a little bit of a background? Who is this band Flow?
Well, a lot of people will probably know Flow more from the Naruto TV series. They did the fourth opening theme for Naruto, which was titled Go. I believe they've also done for Naruto Shippuden.
I think they did, if not two. They did at least one there. Maybe an ending, something like that.
So they've been around, I believe, since 1998. So, they've been around the block for a while, and apparently they are huge fans of Dragon Ball Z, and they are so looking forward to this. And I'm actually kind of excited because it'll be something a little different. It's one of those weird things as a fan where, they're doing Chala Head Chala again. Is it just going to be the old version? And then part of you is torn because you like the old version, but part of you is torn because it's a new updated, maybe can get a little more life into the series. And you don't really know where to go with it. But I think overall it'll be a good thing.
Well, here's the thing. Back in 2008 for the Jump Super Anime Tour special, we did have the original version of Head Chala, but we got all new animation to it. So that brought an entire new bit of life and spark into the song back then. So I can see why they wouldn't want to use the same song as is again. So to do a new version of it, I'm pretty excited. I'm a little bummed we're not getting Hironobu Kageyama, but I do understand where this is marketing spectacular thing they have going on here. So
since you bring up Kageyama, I think it is one good thing to note that when all this information came out, nowhere in there does it say whether, I mean, we assume Head Shala is going to be the opening theme, but everything was just simply said, this will be the theme song of the movie.
Sure.
Nowhere did it say opening theme, ending theme. So, presumably, Chala Head Shala could be the opening theme to the movie. Hironobu Kageyama could come back and do an ending theme to the movie, really tied into all the previous franchise movies that we've had.
Fair point, because then you go back to things like Rule by Ayumi Hamasaki for Dragon Ball Evolution. Sure, that was Evolution. Rule was the theme to that movie. It wasn't played as an opening theme. It was, I think it played briefly in the movie.
The credits rolled.
Yeah, it played during the credits roll, but it also played very briefly, I think, when Goku came up on his scooter toward the high school. It was just kind of a short little instrumental of it. But yeah, it was used as the ending theme. You go back to, I don't know, for whatever reason, the example is sticking out to me, just kind of a mainstream American movie, Vindicated by Dashboard Confessional for Spider-Man 2. That was the theme of that movie. It played as the credits started rolling. So you're absolutely right. We haven't seen anything about, is this the opening theme to the movie? It's just the theme song to the movie.
Right.
The main theme of the movie. So,
and of course,
good point.
We've seen it all over the place of people saying, oh, the new opening theme. And I understand it's just natural to connect Chala Head Shala as the opening theme, but again, it's not essentially confirmed.
I don't know. I may have even said, just talking here on the show, opening theme, and I apologize if I did, because exactly like you just said, we're just so used to saying opening in conjunction with Head Shala, but who knows? It might not actually be so. Let me get your opinion on this. Flow, I'm very excited. I'm familiar with a good bit of their music, of course, from Naruto, other things. There are other bands that come to mind recently with regard to Dragon Ball and Akira Toriyama and extreme fandom. Of course, my mind goes to Maximum the Hormone, who have proven themselves to be gigantic Dragon Ball fans, just as fans, but also showcasing it through their music as well. Of course, the song F, their tribute to Frieza. Do you think Flow was the right choice? Could Maximum the Hormone have worked as well? What are your overall thoughts on this choice?
I think as far as the tone that they're probably trying to set, Flow would be much better than Maximum the Hormone. Just solely based on the type of music each does, which
energetic, happy, poppy.
It's more poppy than anything, and you get more of the kind of grunge out of Maximum the Hormone.
Although I got to tell you, Maximum the Hormone can do pop like nobody's business too.
I know, which is insane to actually listen to one of their albums and see them bounce back and forth between genres
within the same song. It'll just be bubblegum to thrash metal at the drop of a hat.
Yeah, which they pull it off brilliantly, but at the same time, you go, what am I listening to?
Yeah, right. Be a little off-putting to the newer folk.
I guess my question for you would be,
okay,
since Flow was selected,
yes,
is there a chance that we get, maybe since this is more of an international release, get a lot more groups, kind of a la what was done with some of the Dragon Ball Z original movies that were released here in North America, where we get, instead of more of a score, we get a score along with some actual songs from popular groups?
I don't know. I mean, within the movie itself, or just kind of...
Yeah.
I have no idea. I don't know what to look forward to.
It really... For those that, I guess, aren't really all into what anime used to be, especially back in the 80s, how you would have a score, and it's changed so much since just when Dragon Ball Z was on TV.
Yeah.
Even GT showcased it a little more, getting away from having just one or two opening and ending themes. They had multiple opening and ending themes. And you see that a lot more with anime these days, mostly to get funding and things like that. So it really makes me curious if that's going to happen at all for this movie. Just because it is in a different day and age.
More music, more songs, more chances for merchandising. It's possible. Right. I don't know. I kind of read this as this is the big music for the movie. So
yeah, I do too. And I'm kind of leaning farther away from I think they will do that. And if they do anything like that, I think it will be something where, you know what, as a callback, we'll bring in GOKB for just a little thing here. We'll bring in Maximum the Hormone for just a little bit here. But it's not going to be overwhelming all over the place. That's all we have is this music from different bands.
I was going to say, and do you mean in the movie itself or just on the soundtrack to it, where it's one of those music from and inspired by, which is what Image albums always were?
I think it could go either way. I honestly would look forward to something of just being on the album where it's inspired by the film.
I'll take anything. You know what? Just put it out. I'm going to buy it. You can do whatever you want. Just gimme. I
Sold.
am credit card. Multiple credit cards being thrown at the screen here. Just gimme. I don't care. Take it.
All right. So I guess we should move on because we've got a crap ton of
We
news.
do. Oh my God. All right. Well, this one isn't too important.
No. So basically what happened was in one day we broke 4 news stories and no one could get away from a computer and we're all going insane and trying to do work and yeah.
It was awful, but it was awesome.
So the story section of the official Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods website was unveiled.
The story section for the site. That means it's the story of the movie. Awesome.
I know, you think it would be, but it's not. So previously we had found the introduction section. People had been waiting for the story section to come up. But as it appears, yeah, not so much, because all they will be doing is, as we approach the movie, it appears the story section will be updated bit by bit by bit. And as of right now, it is essentially a retelling of Dragon Ball up through, all 519 chapters.
By story, they mean this is the story of Dragon Ball. Goku was a little boy, and he fought these aliens and monsters, and here we are.
I love the last sentence that they have on there. It's, and so, at the end of a long, long day of battle, peace abruptly came to Earth. And yet.
And
then that's it. And
yep.
You're like, son of a bitch, where is the rest?
I know. So that was that. I guess we'll just keep our eye on it and see what they add to it. Will it be more about the story to the movie? We're hoping they're going to toss it in there. There's more to come. Nothing right now.
Probably the next one will be essentially what we got in the introduction
probably.
part, is my guess of we have a brief setup, and it probably be much closer to the movie that we actually get any, I don't even know how to put it, solid information that people don't already know.
All right, so I guess let's leave that behind for a little bit. More news that same day. Again, another one that we're breaking here has nothing to do with Battle of Gods, except for the fact that it's going to be out just in time for you to be excited for Battle of Gods. Coming out February 27th is a new Dragon Ball Z Best Song Collection CD. Now, here's the thing. It's one of those, there's a new CD coming, and you can look forward to things like Head Chala, We Got a Power, Zenkai Power, and Bokutachi. That's kind of the standard announcement for any new Dragon Ball CD over the last, 15 years at this point.
Yeah, essentially. But the one good thing was on Amazon Japan, they do specifically note this CD is being made basically for a merchandising push for Battle of Gods, because the movie is specifically noted in the introduction to this CD.
I gotta give them credit. They are completely transparent about it. They're like, new movie? All right, bitches, here's a new CD. Pay up. Let's go right now.
Exactly. It does note that there will be 16 to 17 tracks, and they will feature those 2 openings and endings that you mentioned, along with a bunch of other songs they listed theme songs, insert songs, movie themes, so more Kageyama, but more so, apparently they are all being remastered.
All right, Heath, here's the thing. We've had similar products. I go back to the 2006 Remix One Half Special something. I think it was called something like that. It was a very similar thing where it was around that number of tracks. They were all remastered / remixed. And by mixed, I don't mean like thumpa thumpa kind of dubstep remix. I mean, like they went back to the master tracks and, pump up this a little bit, put a little echo on this, expand this a little bit. So we've had a CD like that before in the last 10 years. And then we've had things like Legend of Dragon World, which was a 2-disc compilation of the opening and ending themes, all the movie ending themes, some of the best Image songs, most of the insert songs. So is this just literally a nothing sort of crap it out there kind of CD for 2013?
It appears so. I mean, that's essentially what it is. I mean, they come out and they say, okay, we are doing a merchandising push. Here is one of the things we are releasing. But I think it may be a good lead up for anyone that's looking to buy a CD right before this comes out.
Yeah.
Anybody new that maybe came in off of Dragon Ball Kai even. But even that's a little... None of these songs were really used.
Yeah, none of these were in Kai, so if you're a Kai fan, it's irrelevant. And if you're an older fan, I mean, Legend of Dragon World and the 2006, that stuff is still in print and available, I think, for the most part. I haven't checked in a while, but still widely available at least. Yeah, I don't know.
It seems like kind of a stretch to put it out. I guess the only thing I can say is it's 2,300 yen for 17 tracks.
It's a
which
decent
for
price.
A Japanese album is really good.
It's a decent price.
I don't know if they're just prepping you for we're about to charge you 5,000 yen for the official movie album,
right,
or what. I don't know.
And I totally get it, and I would be more on board were it not for that 2006 remastered version and some of the recent compilations. I feel like they've covered this stuff before. So we'll keep our eye on it. I'm looking forward to seeing the final track listing. I already own all of this music at least half a dozen times over. I'll probably buy it anyway. Heath, take us. We're still on the same day of news. It was an exciting day, but this was a big one.
Yes, this was probably, I will say, the largest besides Flow. This would be Flow and the official Battle of Gods trailer being posted on the internet in 720p. Yeah, these two are probably tied for the best news that we've had probably the last week. And it all happened on the exact same day, which is even better. But the Japanese website 11chan or 11chan, however you want to call it. It's basically Channel 11, which is an internet TV station in Sapporo, Japan, who also brews our favorite beer. And they posted up the official trailer that we saw air the previous week on Fuji TV. Of course, on Fuji TV, they didn't actually show the entire trailer. There was a nice woman that was speaking over the whole thing.
Right,
so we got no audio from the actual trailer, all that fun stuff. Well, of course, as soon as this goes up, people rip it. It's on YouTube. It's all over the place. And then what happens? 11 Channel takes it down.
Well, here's a really interesting thing. We grabbed a tweet from them announcing its availability, and then all of a sudden it was gone again. So what the hell happened here?
I'm really curious if the fact that the official website hasn't even posted it yet. I don't think anyone was supposed to post the entire trailer.
Yeah.
Especially online where people can just take it. I think they're waiting until it goes up on Toei's official Battle of Gods website.
Sure.
And we should specify that 11 Channel, this internet TV station, one of their specialties is just posting commercials and trailers for things that have aired on their TV station. And so they just post them up so that people can watch them and whatnot. But I mean, what was this? This went up at 12:13 p.m. their time. I think within the next hour it was taken down.
Yeah.
So
this was funny, man.
Crazy stuff.
Like you said, once it hits the internet, it doesn't matter. It's up there forever. So this trailer has made the rounds, and we were so lucky. Julian was like, he texted me. It was something like 4:30 a.m. my time, because you know what time it is over there in Japan. He's going, you want me to translate the trailer? But by the time I got up and was, on my way to work, I had a complete transcription of the trailer in my email box. So we were able to provide this as well. Boxes. I know, right? He's like, whoever gets to it first, take it, go. And I'm an hour ahead of you. So, I start it and then you finish it. It's great. Doesn't matter who's got meetings that day. Someone can finish things up. So we do have a complete transcription and translation of the trailer if you can't seem to find it anywhere, because it is up and down. We're not hosting it ourselves because we're not looking for any trouble right now. But at the very least, we can provide a translation here. Is there anything you want to pull out of the trailer that's interesting to you?
I really like the introduction by Joji Yanami, who plays Kaio.
Right.
Oh, man. Just listening to him narrate about gods and destruction and it was so serene.
Good stuff.
It really, and we heard this from a lot of people just watching this trailer, and especially just the beginning opening with the narration is like, I have to see this.
Yep.
I want this now. Why is it not March?
And of course, we have a little bit here with no exact pluralization in Japanese. So Julian's like, I'm going to provide both, and you got to go with whatever you want. We're assuming it's going to be more singular because we're talking about just birusu here, but whatever.
But you got to cover your bases.
Yes.
I mean, if they don't throw a Tachi on there, you really have no idea.
Exactly, right. So very exciting. You can check that out. We've got the complete translation there. All right, let's move on to other things. This was a huge story as well. Battle of Gods is absolutely taking up lots of mind space here, but Project Versus J, oh my god, this is blowing up as well. We talked about this last week, I believe, a new crossover fighting game for Shonen Jump series. That's where the J comes from, Jump. Weekly Shonen Jump. This was hysterical because the following Monday's issue of Weekly Shonen Jump, full scans and leaks and everything were already available on Wednesday, so their load was completely blown almost a full week ahead of time here. I mean, I know stuff leaks ahead of time, but we're talking Wednesday for the next Monday? That blows my mind.
It just amazes me how some of that stuff hits the street so soon. You almost have to wonder, wherever they print these things, if people just walk in with their cameras and they're like, hey, you mind if I just take a bunch of pictures and scans of these pages? And they're like, yeah, go for it.
And it wasn't even just like cell phone pictures. It was, flatbed scans that Wednesday at that point. It's crazy. And I mean, this gets into the larger conversation about the sooner they can push all of these things to digital, the better for them, because they can actually keep things under wrap for whatever.
I mean, for us, sometimes it's great.
Right.
And
we don't support piracy,
where they're coming from.
But news is news, and we're going to cover news. Anyway, so at this point, you've already seen all this, but Project Versus J, Weekly Shonen Jump, announcing the game's platform. The prior announcement was, here's a game, not telling you what it's for. We do know now it is for the PlayStation 3 and the Vita, the two Sony consoles right now. So you've got the full home console and the portable release as well. Still not a ton of information here. Still promoting just Luffy and Toriko and Son Goku here as well. There's a new contest that they're promoting here.
Can I just express the irony of this contest?
What? Tell me. What do you got?
So this is coming out on the Vita and the PS3, yet half the prizes are Nintendo products.
Well, the prior week's contest is mostly Nintendo. Although you get a Sony Walkman there.
Ironic.
So, I mean, that's something.
But I totally want a Sony Walkman. I haven't had one of those since 1988.
I don't know what a current Walkman is. I assume it's not a cassette-based Walkman, Heath.
It has to be if it's a Walkman.
That's the only thing a Walkman can be, is a cassette player. And so there's a new contest this week. They're still really just asking, who do you want to be in the game? And based on what you say, they're going to provide some nice prizes. The big thing here is the grand prize for last week's contest is a paper. I love this. A paper? What the hell is a paper? Is it just like a sheet of, I don't know.
You get a loose leaf sheet of paper.
By Oda. But you also get a Wii U premium set and 5 games of your choosing. So that's exciting. But then again, there's a new contest as well. So really what we're looking at here is just a platform confirmation. And Julian and I, we're really diving into this, trying to figure out, all right, it's PS3 and Vita. Those of you who follow gaming know that Sony has launched some initiatives lately called cross-buy and cross-play. Cross-buy is, for example, I think the forerunner here is PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. If you buy the PS3 version of that game, you also get the Vita version for the same $60 MSRP. There's also something called cross-play, which Battle Royale happens to do, where it's the PS3 players can play against the Vita players as if it were the exact same game, because it is the exact same game. So we're like, all right, this is going to be PS3 and Vita. It does not say anything about cross-buy. It does not say anything about cross-play, but it does use this phrase double hard. So we're like, all right, what the hell is double hard? Does that mean if you buy the game twice, is it suddenly twice as difficult to play? So Julian's theory is, in Japanese, sofuto refers to software. That's just the software, the game software, the disc or the media, whatever. Double hard, we're thinking, and it's tough. There's not really any kind of context here. We think they're just saying that it's coming out on PS3 and it's coming out on Vita, which they already confirm anyway.
So double hardware.
Right, double hardware. That means we do not have confirmation about a cross-buy or a cross-play situation. We're, of course, hoping for something like that. That would be very exciting, where if you buy it on one, you get both, or at the very least, you can play against each other. The only other thing I'll toss out there is that for the most part, the PS3 and the Vita, less the Vita, it requires like system resets and different memory cards and stuff, are region free. So we're very much hoping that we'll be able to import Project Versus J as opposed to Dragon Ball Heroes Ultimate Mission. That being said, there is precedent for games being region locked. Persona 4 Arena in particular was region locked on the PS3, so you could not import the Japanese version. I'm hopeful about this, but at the same time, I'm also kind of worried because these are some very, very high profile IPs. And I do worry about Toei getting a stick up their butt saying, oh, no, you can't let anyone else play these games other than the Japanese market. So there is a little bit of a worry there, at least from my perspective. Heath, I've talked enough about this. Give me your thoughts on Project Versus J. We've got platform announcements, really, and then just still the same 3 series.
I really hope it is not region locked. That is my biggest worry right now. I could totally see them doing it, and I really hope that they don't.
Yeah, it's frightening because it could happen. Then you're like, do I buy a Japanese PS3 for one game?
For one game? Yeah.
I mean, I did that.
I know what my wife would say.
I did that for PS2. So, I mean, there is precedent in the EX household for something like that before. And
PS3s have gone down in price.
They have. And I mean, I did that. Well, no, the PS3 wasn't out when I got my Japanese PS2. I also bought that secondhand from one of the Anime Next co-chairs at the time, and he cut me a good deal because I was working the convention. He had a launch model. He's like, here's my system in like 5 launch games for...
Would you like
I'm not even going to tell you what the price was because I basically stole it from him. But that was a great situation back then. But now I'm also looking at Ultimate Mission for Dragon Ball Heroes. I can't play that on my American 3DS, which I don't actually own yet, but I'm pretty sure someone's getting for me for Christmas. So,
hint, if you're listening.
She's not listening. She never listens to the show. She has no idea what this show is, even though she's been on it before. So, but I'm like looking at importing in Japanese 3DS basically for that. I mean, there's a couple other little things here and there that I'm sort of quasi interested in, but I can't justify importing a Japanese PS3 for this game. I'm really hoping that, again, no sticks up any butts. Just let it be, guys. Let it be. And I am more than happy to pay what will likely be the $90 price tag. Just leave it alone.
And shipping.
Well, yeah. And the shipping will be like $20 on top of that. It's going to be an expensive 2013, man.
It really is.
God.
But it will be a fun one.
It will be a fun one. All right. I think that's basically it. I mean, this story was huge. Just, I don't know what it is, whether it's the PS3 and the Vita, just that whole, oh my God, there's a potential to play I am so scared that everyone's going to be devastated if they region lock this game. But I think that's the big hype there right now is we have a chance to play this, much like we did. Not that DON and other stuff. Well, no, DON was region locked because those systems were region locked, but Superstars and Ultimate Stars, Nintendo DS proper standard was not region locked, so we all got to play those.
Because Nintendo is really good at just region locking their players.
Well, the consoles always were, and the handhelds never were, and then everything is... all right, so let's leave video games behind. We're coming back to animated stuff here, Heath. This is one of those, it's not confirmed, but wink wink kind of news stories.
Yeah, it really kind of makes you wonder because she really beats around the bush on this.
Yeah.
But Yuko Minaguchi, who played Videl and Pan, previously had announced that she was going on hiatus from voice work because she was going to study abroad. Well, supposedly, according to her blog, she has returned to the motherland and is now in Japan for a solid 6 days and 4 nights to work on 2 things.
To work on 2 things.
Yes. So it kind of makes you wonder. And I should say, I was the one that actually translated this part, and then Julian looked it over, and he was like, oh yeah, that's all good. The way she writes this is horrendous. And this is why people should not write blog posts like this, because there's no periods, and her stuff actually flows in and out of one another, and she just uses line breaks.
I love the line breaks are awful. It was so bad.
They're very, very abrupt.
Because I tried looking at it first, and I am the lowest on the Japanese totem pole here. And I'm like, you know what? Hands up in the air. I fucking give up. Someone else look at this.
So she posted, she said, by the way, I came back home yesterday for a short return. for 6 days and 4 nights to work on 2 things: Nono and my atopic hospital and the beauty salon. Well, the fun part is Nono and atopic hospital is just one line, completely separate from everything. And then there's one line after that just says beauty salon. There's no and, there's no inclusion.
Here's the thing. We're so
throwing crap on paper.
We're so used to taking things from like official websites that have been proofread and stuff. This is just, it's one of those things where, for me personally, I'm running into a lot of this where I'm listening to podcasts and reading things by, for example, musicians. You're like, oh, I've listened to this person for 20 years of my life. Oh my God, this person who I respect so much cannot construct a sentence.
That's essentially what this is. So she doesn't clarify anything at all. So she says she's back for 6 days and 4 nights to work on 2 things. Now, immediately after that, she just mentions 2 completely random things of taking her dog, Nono, and herself, apparently, to this atopic dermatitis hospital, and then apparently just the beauty salon. But she doesn't specify if it's for her dog or for her, or they're both going to the beauty salon.
It's just this train of thought nonsense. Or if these are actually the 2 things that she's going to be doing, or if she's actually going to be working like work. So all right, so Minaguchi's back. She's probably working on something.
Yeah, but it drives you up a wall to just read some of this.
All right, so we're like, all right, 2 things. We're hoping Battle of Gods and Kai.
Mm-hmm. Now, we do know that at some point she came out on her blog, which we linked to, and said that it was a little childish of her, but without having Daisuke Gori around to play Mr. Satan, she didn't really feel she would want to continue even if Dragon Ball Kai did, because it just wouldn't be the same. So we'll kind of see how that goes.
I mean,
if anything happens.
I cannot overstate how much of a loss it is that we do not have Daisuke Gori. He is one of those voices that has, again, much like some of these musicians that I've grown up with, Daisuke Gori has been a voice that I've grown up with as well. He is a force in my life that just, I cannot even comprehend what it would be like for her and to have been in that situation 3 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. And then you think of it, of a lot of the interviews that we've been translating lately.
Oh,
from a lot of these
heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking.
And they talk about, how fun it was to record, how close they were. They go out for drinks afterwards, they'd hang out, and they love seeing each other. I mean, it's like having a family member just
I'm reading
gone.
some of the stuff that you and Julian have been working on, and I'm just sitting at my desk at work like, I don't want to do anything else today, because it's in retrospect, looking back at these things, you're reading words by Daisuke Gori and by Hirotaka Suzuoki, and it's just, I can't take it. These people have been my life. I can't do it.
Yeah.
And again, so for her, at the same time, the heart can move on. It's been 3 years. We'll see. All right. So I don't want to dwell on that. But then we did have kind of additional stuff in the same vein from really one of our favorite sources. This guy has been one of
all time. He has moved up. He's almost number 1 right now.
He is totally number 1.
List.
And just seeing, he's not just a voice actor and not a voice director. He's a TV personality showcased here by one Mr. Toshio Furukawa is Mr. Yuji Mitsuya, who played Kaioshin. Heath, what is the deal here?
Well, the deal is that he and Furukawa got together to record a few lines. And I'll just read this real quick.
Sure.
They got together to record a few lines at a certain studio for a certain anime. And on this certain day in December, they recorded lines separately, even though that's not something they normally do. Then they said their goodbyes, and they went their separate ways for a little while. And basically, something's going to happen, but they're always happy to see each other.
I love this. It's like a certain day with a certain series in a certain place. Like, you bastards, come on now.
Yeah. And the fun part is they say that they got together in Kita. I cannot read that.
Kita Shinjuku.
Shinjuku. And Kita Shinjuku is actually where TAVAC, which is the Toei voice recording studio, is located. So presumably they're recording something for Toei, separate lines, possibly for Dragon Ball Kai, which we know will be continuing. So you kind of have to read into a little bit. But I just love how they use the same kanji every single. We're doing this at a certain time, at a certain. It's like You could just say what you're doing because you're essentially telling us what you're doing anyway.
Right, totally. I mean, it could be Battle of Gods. It could also be Kai. That's why we said, for both of these, it's either and or kind of thing going on. But Mitsuya
But you
is
have
awesome.
to wonder, though, when Toshio Furukawa first said on his Twitter account that he was recording something for a certain anime.
Exactly.
It turned out to be Kai.
Exactly. He was the one that kind of broke it, and then Tanaka was like, fuck it, I'm just telling you what we're doing. So Furukawa, I mean, he's kind of our source. When he says certain X, it's always Dragon Ball at this point.
Yeah.
Love it.
Because One Piece is ongoing and nobody really, I don't know.
And Furukawa and Ace, so, I mean, whatever. At this point, we have to assume Dragon Ball first and foremost rather than One Piece. All right, so you can check that out. We've got translations of all the blog entries and the news updates and some extra clarification there. So we got a couple last stories that we'll get to here before we hit our main topic. These are both short. Dragon Ball Heroes Ultimate Mission, a new 15-second commercial for the 3DS game. Again, coming out February 28th, 2013. Doesn't show anything we don't already know. It's got the cover art, which we updated with probably a couple of weeks ago at this point. Shows the 5-on-5 team battles, the over 900 cards. It also shows the set of cards you get with pre-orders. They can be used in the arcade version. Again, stuff we already know, but just a new commercial there. So that's a thing. Heath, take us the very last news story we have for you this week, although that could change probably within the next hour, because that's what's up with Dragon Ball right now.
Well, we finally have an announcement, sort of,
oh my God,
from Funimation that Dragon Ball Z Kai Season 4 will be released next year on March 12th,
finally,
2013.
Finally, exclamation point, like times 20 here, because people have been going, what is going on? Where is this final compilation?
Especially when you consider Part 7 and Part 8 have been out for months, and apparently they decided to take a snooze on this one, but it's finally coming out.
And that's okay. That's okay. It's coming, though.
Yeah, it's coming out on both DVD and Blu-ray, which will be available March 12th, 2013. It will have 2 discs. Is that correct?
No, there are 4 discs each.
4 discs, because each part had 2 discs. And that will cover episodes 78 through 98. Of course, episode 98 was unaired in Japan and considered an extra episode. So I'm not quite sure how they actually listed that.
Well, they just say 98.
Set on part 8.
Yeah, and part 8, it was just episode 98. It was just part of, they didn't say like extra episode or anything. So yeah, I mean, I guess it's important to note that part 8 was already out and already included 98. So 98's not actually new or special here. It's just a re-release of these previously released stuff.
They've just taken the 2, slapped them together.
Yep.
There you go.
Is this the cover art from part 8? I think it was.
I think so, but honestly, I couldn't.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. I bought 1 through 4 because that was the Yamamoto broadcast. I'm like, I don't need replacement things. I'll just, whatever. That was my stance.
MSRP apparently is about $50, but you can usually probably get these a little closer to release. Maybe $30, $35, just depending on where you go.
That's what they come down to. I've seen them. Amazon's had like $22 deals recently on some of the seasons, not even the parts. So keep your eyes open.
And if you want them earlier, get them from Right Stuff, because they'll ship it to you like a week and a half early.
If not a month early. It depends on whether it's actually done or not. So
if you want it right now, you could probably pre-order it and they'll just send it to you.
Or you could just buy parts 7 and 8. I mean, depending on what you already have.
Which I believe are still in print.
I guess we can also note that this will be the Kikuchi replacement score. Of course, episodes 96, 97, and 98 only ever had the Kikuchi replacement score, even on Japanese broadcast. But that's its whole other thing. You can read about that on the site. If you're looking on the site right now, immediately to the right of these cover arts are, you've got that picture of Yamamoto's mug there. So just
staring at you saying, I'm about to steal your soul as I steal this music.
I'm gonna steal your music. All right, that was a ton of news. Let's talk about completely different things, like complex movie characters. We are totally going with the Battle of Gods is huge, and we're gonna basically pull a Toei and a Shueisha here and just keep riding on the high of Battle of Gods and kind of organize our topics around it. We've got this Birusu, god of destruction, and this Uisu, who we don't know a whole lot about just yet. These are movie villains, the god of destruction. That sounds like a very important title, a very important role in the Dragon world. So I thought, hey, it would be interesting to take a look back at some of the prior movie villains and see, hey, who was interesting, who is a complex character, rather than, hey, we got 45 minutes, throw in an android and go. So it's just Heath and I. Originally, this was going to be Heath, Julian, and I, and then it was going to be Heath, Mary, and I, and now it's just Heath and I. So rather than a round table, it's more of a straight line back and forth talking about, we're going to give you our top 3 complex movie villains, but then you folks had a lot of great ideas just within the last couple hours, and I'm sure they'll continue to grow between now and when the podcast comes out. So we're going to go back and forth between 3, 2, and number 1. Give you your thoughts. Heath, get us going. Your number 3 most complex, and you can define complex however you want, movie villain from the Dragon Ball universe.
Okay, for number 3, I am stepping outside of what we typically call the standard 17 movies.
Sure, that is okay.
You said I could, and so I'm going to.
I give you free reign here.
Okay, this one's kind of a slash between Dr. Aichi and Hachi Hyuk.
Ah, okay, sure.
Just because I'm a sucker for the Saiyan backstory, all the historical stuff that ties into it. Not even so much GT, but just what we find out in the series.
Hold on, because there you go.
The
between Raichi and, well, Mew and Baby is kind of the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I'm going with them.
The original.
Not
the 94 original, the OG.
Yes. I chose these two just because of the backstory for the most part.
Okay.
I think they have a pretty rich backstory, something that we've seen expanded upon, something that they did actually very well, I thought. And I think they're actually fairly good characters, even though one barely ever talks, if at all.
That's true. I like it, though. I like it.
You like it? I thought it was a pretty good selection.
Clearly, Toei did as well, because they just used it wholesale again 3 years later.
Well, over and over and on and on. But yeah, I think that's what I'm going to go with for my number 3. And from here, maybe we'll get back into movies. Who knows?
Okay.
So, Mike, what do you have for your number 3?
My number 3. All right. We're kind of sticking with science here. I am choosing a movie villain character who is not the primary villain of a movie. And we're going to talk a little bit about the primary villain, I think, with a couple of your comments. My number 3 is Paragus, actually, from DBZ Movie 8, not Broly himself. Paragus has this really interesting stuff where he's, hey, King, my son's like super awesome. Oh, wait, you're going to try and kill us both and toss us both out for dead. But actually, my baby son put us in a bubble, and here we are, and all right, fuck you, little prince. I'm coming after you, and I'm going to take you to all these planets. And then, oh shit, my son broke out and now I'm dead.
And Vegeta totally buys into it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
He plays along.
Paragus is just playing everyone for fools, but then he gets played in the end. Not really played. I mean, he just kind of gets crushed.
I don't think Broly really plans any of that.
No, he doesn't. But I thought
He's like the Hulk.
It's exactly what you were talking about with the Saiyan, the back history, and the revenge stuff. But this is kind of revenge within the Saiyan ranks themselves, rather than going with the Sufuru kind of outside the Saiyans. It's not super deep, and maybe that's why he's down at my number 3, but I think he has a somewhat interesting, if not even quasi-sympathetic story. So Paragus is my number 3.
There you go. I think that works. I think that's actually a very good selection. Not somebody I would have thought.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought of him last second. So major props to me for putting an interesting choice there. Good job, Mike.
Yes,
good
major
thinking.
Props
Good
to
job,
you.
Mike. Good.
We should just name this. Let's all appreciate what Mike can do.
I like that. This is the Mike is awesome list. All right, Heath, number 2 on your Mike is awesome list.
No, this is the Heath is awesome.
Okay,
list.
Sure.
So for number 2, I am going with a character from one of your favorite movies.
Okay.
Garlic Jr.
Good choice.
I think I picked him as my number 2. I think I picked him as my
think
number
you
2
picked him?
because
Wait. Are you sure that you picked him? Did you not actually pick him?
No, I'm gonna pick him.
Okay.
I will officially pick him right now.
Okay.
So Garlic Jr., I really like the tie-in with the backstory to God and his father trying to, ascend to the level of Kami, but he's not allowed
I like
to.
You used ascend properly. Good job.
See, like that?
Yeah.
And then we also can track back from that to Piccolo and how Piccolo Daimao and Kami are split, and all of that really ties in together and how they brought that into the movie, yet Son Goku can do whatever he wants, and Gohan can get drunk, and it's just, I really like it. I think that all fits together because it pulls in a lot of elements that were present that were never really explained, yet turn out to, this is what Toriyama was thinking. And I think it all really works well together. Besides the fact that Garlic Jr. later enters the series as a main character with his own arc.
He does. Perhaps we'll return to that momentarily, but
Okay.
My number 2, I'm like totally destroying any illusion of what my number 1 is. My number 2 is Dr. Weirdo. Number 2 from DBZ, movie number 2. He's kind of this proto Dr. Gero, and I suppose proto Dr. Mew in a way as well. He's creating these mechanical bioengineered mutant things. I mean, his goal is just, I'm going to become the strongest and I'm going to take over whoever I can to do it. But he's got this, I don't know, it's just kind of super cool where he's locked away in this ice, but he's a giant brain and he's got all this science going on. And even Miss Blue Hair is like, hey, I've heard of you before. And it's one of those, I've heard of you before, but we've never actually mentioned anything like this before ever happening. But I'm okay with that.
Well, but she also knew who Dr. Gero was.
Right. So the exact same thing. And that's why I say, like, oh man, I feel like there's some similarities going on here. Much like you went with Dr. Raichi as opposed to Dr. Mew and Baby, I'm going to go with the original Gangsta Weiro here as opposed to the kind of later interpretations of the evil mad scientist. I think he had some neat stuff going on. Maybe not the most complex in terms of goals and methods and stuff, but...
Well, he's very clear about his goals.
He is. He's very straightforward. Like, wait, you're not the strongest. Wait, you are the strongest? All right, taking you over. Oh, wait, you just broke out of my little vine thing. All right, I'm going to break out too, and I'm a giant robot monster brain thing. And the man didn't
I have
Genki
no
Dama.
body.
Yep. All right, so Dr. Weirdo is my number 2. Heath, your number 1 most complex movie villain from Dragon Ball.
This one was actually quite tough because I was really torn because I really wouldn't say he's my number 1 movie villain.
Okay.
Because I would rather go with Tapion myself, but we're doing villains. So
yes. All right.
I am torn between Hoi and Hildegon. Because you can't really have one without the other.
Yeah, you can't have Hoi without Hildegarn. You can't have Hildegarn without Tapion. You can't have Tapion without Hoi.
So,
and Minoshia. Don't forget Minoshia.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know who I really say. I guess I'll do another Hoi/Hildegon sort of thing. Just because it's kind of, did the egg come first? Did the chicken come first? What happened? So,
sure.
That's kind of what I'm going with. I love the backstory. I think it's
cool.
One of the first movies that they really come out, and it's nothing that's ever really been done before. And it's got this really good mythical feel to it. Something that you just never really saw coming.
Yeah, you want to talk about sympathetic characters. Tapion is kind of the definition of it here in terms of Dragon Ball.
And you get great action. You get wizards, evil wizards. You get coconuts. All sorts of fun stuff.
You put the wizard in the coconuts.
The coconut. You get Pepsi.
You get tapioca.
So I think that is what I'm going to go with, just because I think it's very complex. It's very rich. It really gives you something to think about. And overall, it was just brilliantly done. And just the fact that they came up with Hildegon's name solely based on someone making a Gon face made my day.
I think one of the reasons he's not on my list is because I was strictly going with villains and Hildegarn himself.
That's why I went with Hoi.
Not necessarily. Right. I understand. My number 1, I already basically said so. Garlic Jr. You kind of already said everything there is. I love the backstory behind who becomes God. Why do you become God? Someone else could actually kind of vie for the same role as you. And I'm going to summon up these basically demons from hell to kind of...
I love the uprising.
Oh my God, the
awesome.
artistic style there is fantastic. Movie one's got, man, I mean, there are reasons I love this movie, and then there are reasons I love this movie. Garlic Jr., we're also talking about the movie exclusive version here. I love Shigeru Chiba, but Akira motherfucking Kamiya plays this role so beautifully. He's such a great actor for this role. It's not the type of performance I think you would expect. You would expect Shigeru Chiba to play that role.
Yes.
But to have Kamiya play it just brings this new dimension to that character that, oh my God, like, that's who he is. I totally get it now.
If people have never watched it in original Japanese from the series and the movie, I highly suggest you do, just to see the differences in the character, because it is amazing.
Yeah, because TV Garlic Jr. is Pilaf, but movie Garlic Jr. is Garlic Jr. I mean, that is his own role through and through. And you said everything else there is to say about it. I love the story there. I think they did a fantastic job with this movie, and just so many levels. Garlic Jr. is my number ones.
And it completely ties back into the whole God hierarchy theme.
It does.
Which
it does.
we are now going back into.
Battle of
supposedly.
Gods, just kind of saying it kind of works. It works. We're not totally leeching off news to
at all.
All right, so we're going to take it over to your thoughts. Just earlier today, we tossed it out there. Who do you think the most complex movie villain is, and why?
Within like 15 minutes, my phone blew up. And I had to shut it off while we were eating lunch.
So we're going to go through a bunch of yours. And again, there's going to be far more. We continue to want to know what you have to say. So feel free. Don't stop. I wanted to get this. I think the first reply, I expected this to be the first reply, and I want to get it out of the way. Jamie says, Broly, trollololololo. All right, so we're done there. Moving on. Ryan says, complex. Truth be told, they're all fairly basic, formulaic, due to the limited running time of the films they come from. I think that is a fair criticism.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were able to dive in and find a little bit, but it's the kind of thing where you do have to dive in and pull stuff out of it to make it work.
And you have to be very understanding at the same time.
You do.
Realizing what the run times are, and you don't have a character that you devote an entire arc of a series to.
Right.
It just, you can't do it. And then Denzel sent us in, to be honest, none of the movie villains are that complex, but the ones who were explained the best were Garlic Jr. and Dr. Wheelo.
I like that. I approve. Obviously, my numbers 1 and 2 there. You had some Garlic Jr. love as well. I actually don't know how to pronounce his name. Is it Git Kaliba? Git Kaliba? I'd say probably Garlic Jr., actually. He had the whole deal with his father and Kami's history, his father's failed plans, his own plans that he was trying for, and succeeded. Again, I mean, you had a villain who succeeded with the Dragon Balls. Just seems like he had a lot more going on than the rest of them, even if it wasn't shown the most. I like that.
Very good points.
We have a villain who won. Piccolo Daimao and Garlic Jr., they won.
It is kind of interesting to look back to see that he actually won, yet he gets locked away. Yep. So he ends up not winning.
He probably lost more than if he actually died.
Yeah. So Ricky Bear says Hildegon was honestly really impressed with how complex his backstory was. Felt way deeper than any other villain story.
Yeah, tying in with that, Eric said, Hildegon, without a doubt. I feel like the motive to every other movie villain could be summed up in a few words. They all have pretty simplistic stories, but I was really taken aback by how in-depth they made the history behind Tapion Hildegon. Really impressed me.
And again, we have from Gabe gonna say Hildegon. They introduce not one, but 2 new characters just to explain where he came from. That's pretty complex.
And again, I think that takes it back to what I was saying, where maybe the main villain of the movie himself isn't the complex one, but the backstory surrounding him is, so that in turn makes him more interesting, but I totally get where you're all coming from.
To me, Hoei is the actual villain in that movie. It's just he's so dumb, and his evil wizard powers don't do a whole lot that it really gets overshadowed by Hildegon.
Totally.
So, unfortunately, but hey, we all love Hildegon, so what are you going to do?
All right, Randy says, Buyer Broly! Garlic Jr., father in line to be Kami, sealed for rebelling, Jr. out for revenge and immortality to become Kami. So again, you jerks tossing the joke answers out there, but I understand why you're doing that. Some Garlic Jr. love.
It was enough to pull him back into the series. See?
Yep.
Everybody loves Garlic Jr.
Very nice.
Thomas said, they are all pretty shallow, but I'll go with Kula. Seemingly snubbed by his family, reasonable intellect, and, unlike many of the movie villains, a clear purpose. And that is definitely, he has a clear purpose, which is to clean up after his brother's mess, even though he didn't want to clean up after it to begin with. But do you think he was snubbed by his family, Mike?
Was Kula snubbed by his family? It's tough because we don't know enough about Kula and King Cold together. We only know a little bit about what Kula says about Frieza.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't even know how I could answer that.
Yeah, I agree. So, moving on, we have Jesse, who also says probably Kula, just because they've given him the most development. He lets Goku go when he's a kid, tries to clean up his mess, then has the whole mecha gambit. Still relatively straightforward, but definitely one of the more interesting trajectories for a villain of the Dragon Ball world.
Yeah, it's a fleshed out story, but I don't know if that makes him a complex character. So that's why I'm not thinking that. All right, the last one we're going to do here, and then again, you guys have plenty more thoughts. Keep them coming. Chris says, Dr. Wiro would be it if it weren't for the fact that I can't understand how his brain got so dang big. And I'm a little bit with you there, Chris.
Well, I think Jake pointed this out once, that actually in one of the original drawings, his brain wasn't that big when Toriyama drew him up, but when they animated him for the movie, they actually made his brain much larger.
Yeah.
Something like that.
More interesting look.
Yeah.
All right, so those are your thoughts. Keep them coming. Plenty more. You can respond on Twitter, on Facebook, on the forum thread for every episode. We have more from you folks to wrap up the episode. Just a couple random emails from you. All right, Heath, we have two pretty beefy ones here and then one little one.
Holy cow, we do.
Why don't you take the first one here from Duo Pierce?
All right. Greetings. I've been catching up with you wonderful folks on the podcast, and today reached episode 301. Well, congratulations, because you have a lot more to go.
Oh, not too much. I mean, what is this, 318?
When you think they're like an hour and a half a piece sometimes. Anyway, I've not listened to each episode after, so I ask for your forgiveness if this question or something similar has come up on the show since. The subject at hand is your discussion of Vegeta as a strategic fighter and your conclusion that he doesn't deserve to be called such. A pair of events occurred to me that seemed at least somewhat noteworthy on this matter. The first of these pertains to the second clash between Zarbon and Vegeta. In that battle, Zarbon transforms immediately and attacks Vegeta. The Saiyan ducks and, in that moment, seizes a pile of dirt, then flies upward. When Zarbon chases him, Vegeta drops the dirt into Zarbon's eyes and uses the opening to deal a chapter-ending blow. Following shortly thereafter, by a volley of ki blasts. This is a shining moment of Vegeta using strategy in battle to weaken an opponent, even though it is generally remembered as just Vegeta being much stronger than Zarbon. Much later in the series, I would like to call your attention toward the final flash that Vegeta uses against Cell. I won't detail this, but I don't recall you mentioning a fairly notable moment of tactical fighting. I don't think this really cements Vegeta as a strategic combatant, but it makes your case against him slightly weaker. Two questions. 1. Do either of these examples shake your stand on the matter? 2. What do you think are the best moments of tactical fighting in the series? Any character.
You're not going to believe this, but I have the best explanation to answer this question. I'm pretty sure, was this back when we had Lance on the show? It was Lance, myself, and Mary talking about Vegeta, or maybe it was before then. I believe so. I do remember talking about the dirt and all of that, and I'm pretty sure what happened is that I said it was Vegeta versus someone other than Zarbon, and then to prevent myself from looking like an idiot, I edited that little snippet out of the show. So I had the right tactical stuff, wrong character, so technically I'm mostly right there. I do agree, I completely agree. That is a tactical moment that Vegeta used. You are right. I was right too, just wrong character, and now you can see how this is coming to bite me on the ass in the end. As for the final flash against Cell from Vegeta, I don't know. To me, that was just kind of one of those character fires a giant ki-based attack. That's not so much strategic as it was just, I'm going to fire something at you. To me, that's not on the same level.
Essentially flies up and Trunks is all, no, don't do that, and yeah, fuck you guys, boom.
Yeah, that's not strategy to me. That's just a blast.
And Cell thought he could take it to begin with.
Right,
which
so
he did.
It's just two characters being stupid, and we talked about how Vegeta gets dumber and dumber as the series goes on. What is the most strategic tactical fighting in the series? I don't know. I kind of always go back to Goku versus Raccoon. That's not really tactical as it just not being a dumbass, just elbowing someone while they're powering up. I don't know. I think for Dragon Ball, that's tactical.
Well, I think just in general, anime-wise, if you just go back to Dragon Ball, when you see more hand-to-hand combat.
Absolutely. There's a lot back then.
That, like the Tenshinhan and Goku fight in the 22nd Budokai. And even against Ma Jr.
Anything I feel with the Zanso-Ken, the after-image technique as well, I feel like there's a lot of tactical stuff going on back then. 21st, 22nd, absolutely. A little bit in the 23rd. 23rd, getting into big blasts.
I would say maybe the most tactical battle is probably against Vegeta and Nappa at the beginning of Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
When Goku's not there, and you have all these warriors that are way outclassed, and the only reason they're still alive, besides Vegeta saying, hey, let's take a hiatus for a little bit, is that they use strategy. And they almost could have done a huge amount of damage to Nappa if Gohan didn't wuss out and not fire.
And also, if Vegeta wasn't like, hey, dumbass, don't try and take that Kienzan.
Yeah. So
yes.
that's some good stuff.
Right.
I love that beginning part of the series.
I do too. All right, we got a couple more.
There's a reason it's been released like 80 times, right?
Yeah, right. How many times have I bought Raditz? All right, so let's go to the next one here. This was just a contact form. I don't have a name. NCS 12088. Hey, I've been looking around at animation cells and was just wondering if any found for sale on places like eBay were actually used in the making of the show. It seems like an easy thing to reproduce and fake, so I've always wondered about it. Yeah, you can find fake stuff out there, but I don't know. I'm not huge into the cell scene.
More often than not, they are legit.
They're real. Yeah, totally.
And most of them come with the actual Toei sticker still on them.
That's a
lot
good way.
of them.
Yep.
When they would sell them in the Toei Animation shop, which is in Tokyo, which is where a lot of these come from. And then, over the years, they've just been distributed around the world and resold and whatnot on eBay. But when they would release these originally, you would have the animation cell. Sometimes it would come with a background, whether it actually went with that particular scene or not. And then they would throw in a slip of paper, which would tell you where that scene was used, or more apt, they would say, this was cell A5 of episode whatever. And then that would be it. It'd be checked off that it was official, and they'd throw a sticker on it.
Yep.
So if you are going to buy them, you can always contact the seller, ask, is this official? Can you show me a picture? And that should do it for you.
Yeah, look for those little things. Look for the notes on it. Look for the doga. Look for... background stuff is always dicey because more often than not, you're not going to get the original background like we were saying. So
And a lot of times when they would put those together, you'll find these days, even when you buy them, probably more so these days than back then, but they'll have the cell and it'll be on the background. Well, they will have stuck together, and you can no longer take the cell off the background without ripping paint off.
Right.
So usually you have to leave them together. And the thing is that backgrounds, since they are much more artistic and take much more time to make, they only made a few of them. And that's why you'll notice in anime in general, especially back in the day before it was all computer graphics, that backgrounds were reused all the time. So you have multiple scenes with backgrounds, and they just reuse them, and they would never sell those until the series was officially over.
Reuse them, pan across them.
Yeah. That's why a lot of cells, you can never, ever find their original background to them, because they may or may not exist, and if they do, they are probably with some other cell from a way far away scene that somebody else owns on the other side of the globe.
Fair point. That exact background was used 2 episodes earlier, so it's with that. Good stuff. And especially if you go to anime conventions, I mean, the dealers there almost exclusively are always going to have the real stuff. And
yeah, they do their homework.
The typical binders all chained together, the giant black plastic things. You know what we're talking about. All right, so we have one last one here. I've been teasing this one for, I feel like, 2 episodes at this point. It's a beast, but I definitely want to address it. Heath, Jerry Terrifying writes,
"Hello, Mike and assorted Kanzenshuu crew," which is 2 of us right now. "That might be around if/when this gets read. I've got a comment from Mike."
All right, I'm going to sit back and listen. Take it away.
Paying attention. Pretend like you've never read this previously.
No, okay, all right.
"When talking about the Budokai HD collection, you really focus on the soundtrack being different and how it ruins the game for you. This is baffling to the point that I'm willing to write an email. Now, I understand you're way into the music scene when it comes to Dragon Ball, but when giving a brief audio review on the podcast, I don't think you should focus solely on one issue that for many players doesn't matter, at least not to the degree it matters to you. Many people that play games listen to their iPods, podcasts, have Netflix running in the background, etc., and don't really encounter the soundtrack at all. I don't know for sure, but if I were reviewing this title, I'd mention if the game let you use custom soundtracks. I know that Raging Blast on the PS3 lets you do that, which could solve your biggest problem. Not sure how custom soundtracks work on the 360, but I do know on the PS3 it's up to the developer, so it'd be nice to know if this game allows custom soundtracks. Just listening to the podcast, there are tons of things about the game you don't even mention in nearly as much detail. How does the game play? How well was it ported? Are there frame rate issues? Is there online multiplayer added? Any strange graphical hiccups? Some people might like to know about the trophies or achievements. You also keep asking who would want this with different music. The way the music is focused on gives me the impression you only put the game in your console to hear the music and not to actually, play the game. There is a market for this game. The kids that only have 360s and PS3s that have recently found the series through Dragon Ball Kai that wouldn't know the music's been changed, for example. Also, for me, the graphical improvements make a much larger impact than the soundtrack differences. PlayStation 2 games look like ass butt on a HD TV. Graphics don't make or break a game for me. But if I have the option of the exact same game looking like booty balls in 480i in a 4:3 aspect ratio, or the exact same game in a 16:9, 720p or 1080p HD, I'll take it.
Everything you said is absolutely correct. And at the same time, everything you asked me about, I'm almost 100% certain I did say in that audio review. How does the game play? I'm pretty sure I said it plays exactly like it did as you remember. How well was it ported? I'm pretty sure we addressed that. There are frame rate issues. Pretty sure I talked about how it's running at a wonderful 60 frames per second. Is there any online multiplayer added? I'm pretty sure we said that there is exactly 0 added to these games beyond achievements and trophies, which you actually asked about later.
Thing that everybody complained about.
Right. So all the stuff you're asking me about, those are kind of yes-no things that I'm pretty sure I addressed in, again, it was a brief little audio review. That is not the formal written review. That, of course, is coming to the website later. I do understand that some of you only listen to the podcast. Some of you have never read the website in your lives, and you're missing out on a ton of stuff. But all of that stuff I absolutely did address in some capacity. I stand by my viewpoint. And this is what's great, is that we all have different viewpoints and different things, and you can find different people to attach yourself to and kind of figure out where they're coming from. I stand by my viewpoint that the music in the Budokai series, more than any other Dragon Ball video game and more than many other video games, it was produced to such a level that we almost didn't deserve the level of quality we got with that. You're talking about, again, you heard me say this, Steve Lukather from Toto. You had Tower of Power in there. The other artists that contributed there that you can see in that wonderful behind the scenes video that came with the DBZ 1 and 2 soundtrack, to see the quality of musicianship that went into these games blows my mind, and it should blow your mind as well. And it was integrated into the game, well, the games, all 3 of those Budokai games, in a way that has not been done before or since for Dragon Ball. And that's why I feel it was such an important thing there. As for custom soundtracks, here's the thing. People talk about custom soundtracks. To me, Custom soundtrack means you say, instead of this song, I want this song to play. Instead of this song, I want this song to play. There were very, very few video games that allow you to do it to that capacity. Most of the time, what you're actually doing is you're going to the audio player on your console, be it a 360 or a PS3, and you're saying, hey, play this song. And what it's going to do is just play through that album beginning to end as if you were listening to a CD like on a boombox somewhere, but instead it's going to come through the system. So it's not going to end and play wind music when the fight's over. When you go back to the main menu, it's not going to play main menu music. It's just going to keep playing. And yeah, I absolutely was playing my Budokai soundtracks in the background as I was playing the games. And that helps a little bit, but it is not the same thing as the fight starts and it goes dum dum or dun 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 dun. It's not the same gameplay experience, and that was such a huge deal with those games. That's what I focused on. And like you said, music is huge for me as a part of my life with Dragon Ball. So you understand where I'm coming from, and I appreciate that you understand where I'm coming from in that. So that's what I wanted to focus on. Other people are going to focus on different things, and that's great. Go read their reviews, listen to their reviews. And I think when you put those things together, you're going to get a better comprehensive whole than you will if you only listen to me, if you only read my words, you're not getting the full picture here. You're getting the Mike VegettoEX picture. and that's the picture that I only want you to see, but I totally understand and recognize that there are other viewpoints out there. So part of me is like, no, I actually addressed what you said and you were only hearing what you wanted to hear. At the same time, I do recognize that you wanted to hear more about those other things. And to that I say, well, hopefully my full written review will be up by the end of the year that I've already written about a lot of that stuff as well. Heath, do you have any thoughts on that? This is kind of just me talking into a vacuum for a bit.
No, I think you are the man for that, and I did not play the HD collection, so I really have no idea.
Heath has no thoughts.
No thoughts.
All right. Heath, if people want to chat with us, talk with us, submit things, really just go to the website, right?
Yeah, you can go to the website. You'll find links for our Twitter page, our Facebook page, Google+. There's also a contact form on every single page of the site, so you can always fill that out. And if you're lucky, we will answer your question on this here podcast. And Mike may rail on you for like 5 minutes, but hey, you were on the podcast, so it was worth it.
Did I rail on him? I think only a little bit. Only like 25% railing, 75% legitimate answers.
I'm just trying to harass.
But, I like that. I want people to keep us honest. I want to keep the audience honest. I think that's important. And if we don't cover what you want to hear, let us know, and we will. Yeah, we can
adjust.
Probably not, but
sometimes we are a tad biased towards what our interests are. But if you want to hear about something else, we can certainly do that as well.
There's no such thing as unbiased. That is such the worst word in the English language. Everyone comes to everything with their own preconceptions, experiences, thoughts, and that's what makes us individuals. So fuck the word unbiased. Heath, Kanzenshuu.com.
Yes, that is where you can find us. www.kanzenshuu.com. You can like I said, follow the links. You can check us out on Twitter, Facebook, Google+, all sorts of fun stuff. Fill out the contact form. Email us. Let us know what you're thinking. You have any news items you want us to cover, let us know. You have any reviews you want Mike to do, let him know. You have any animation style guide updates you want me to do, I can certainly do that. Julian, Jake, let them know about translations. We'll do that too. We are your servants.
There's a good chance we're already doing what you want us to do.
Yeah, more than likely.
Okay, the only other thing I want to toss out there is we are coming up on the very end of the year. Julian, in particular, is very excited to check back on the predictions we made exactly 1 year ago.
We totally sucked on this.
Oh, man, it was awful. It was awful. We did a mid-year. Every year, this is what we do. And everyone does the same thing. And it's just kind of a cliche thing, but we have fun with it, too. At the end of every year, we kind of recap the biggest news stories, and we make predictions for what we think will happen over the next year in the Dragon world. And then every July 1st-ish, we kind of check in and see how we're doing. And then at the end of the year, we not only make predictions for the next year, but check back with what predictions we made last year. And this year's going to be a train wreck for us.
An utter train wreck.
Oh
sort
my
of.
God. I'm frightened. I am absolutely terrified to see what we said. So that's the plan. We got other great things coming your way.
Yeah, what other podcasts do we have coming? I'm supposed to remind you.
Well, that was the main one.
Okay.
So
is Jeff out of town for like a year now?
No, he's actually around. I'm actually seeing him Friday, but it's for wedding stuff, doing suit measurements and stuff. So there'll be no GT. But related to that, I, like many people, was buying all the single disc Funimation releases. There are 2 Dragon Ball GT discs I never bothered to pick up. I have the lost episodes, and then I have quote unquote volume 1. But then I never got volumes 2 and 3, and I'm doing quotes in the air as I'm saying that. And I'm like, crap, I need those to keep doing the GT review of awesomeness. So it's like, well, I've got the R2s, and I can mostly follow that, but Jeff's shit out of luck if I watch those. So do I just buy that complete collection Funimation put out, the green bricks? Well, I don't really want to spend $30 just for a couple episodes. So what I ended up doing is just buying volumes 2 and 3 for like $2 each new on Amazon. Yeah.
Nice.
So those are on the way. As soon as I get those
I actually did that back in the day. It was before I got the GT Dragon Box.
Oh, really?
And for Kanzenshuu, I wanted to put up all the opening and ending themes and the eye catch stuff.
Gotcha.
So I got on Amazon, figured out which
ones
of the
Switch?
single discs contained what, and I bought like just 4.
Nice.
Those are the only 4 that I have.
Nice. I actually think we could do the next review with what I already own, because we did through 15. I think 16 is on Lost Episodes 5, and then 17, 18, 19 are on, what is it,
1.
Affliction number 1.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we could actually do that, but I've got the missing 2 on the way anyway, so...
so it'll happen at some point.
Yes, it maybe not before the new year, but it is on all of our radars. We are aware of it, so we'll of course announce it and let you know ahead of time. Unlike the last one where we thought it would be a fun surprise, but we'll let you know. So those are 2 exciting things we have coming up, and we got more. So there you go.
I think we will. There should be an animation styles guide update tomorrow, which is Monday, and then before that, also. I will be posting some interview translations from Julian from
nice.
Tenkaichi Densetsu.
Which I've read, and they're all awesome.
Yes. I think we are putting up, I'm going to do Masako Nozawa and, what was the other one I was working on? Toshio, I think, was Furukawa.
I was going to say, you're on a first name basis with them now?
We are. I am
buds.
having brain farts right now because I have to go to the bathroom.
I do too. So I did that to you last episode. You're allowed to do it to me this episode. Let's call it quits. This was episode 318 of our podcast here at Kanzenshuu. We'll see you next week for episode 319. I don't think it's going to be the predictions episode. We're going to try and have that for either last week of 2012 or first week of 2013, so you can look forward to that soon. That was it. My name is Mike, VegettoEX for Heath over there, for Jake off on, let's say he's on Jupiter right now.
He has been moving. So
moving around, protecting the universe, the galaxy. For Julian off in Japan, of course, translating like a madman for Mary upstairs, who has moved on from Chrono Trigger to Persona 3. I will never see her again. My wife is a lost cause. Again, my name is Mike VegettoEX. Heath, wrap it up. End of the show. Quote, go.
Oh, wait. I was going to do the original. Am I allowed to do that still?
Sure.
Oh, I have to. Kanzenshuu za podcasto konchi mo kite kudasate arigatou gozaimasu. Jikai mo otamashi ni. Do you think he was snubbed by his family, Mike?
Who, Garlic?
Kula, Mr. I'm on my phone and not paying attention.
I know.
Right
I'm
now.
responding to Mary. She's asking me where she can plug in the PSP. Was Kula snubbed by his family?